everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, and welcome back if you wanted to stay tuned for your Heel Season 2 predictions video. Here we go. Also, yeah, if you're wondering, where are my sunglasses? Because I've been wearing them for 8 episode reviews straight for when we did Heels each and every week. I forgot my glasses downstairs, like literally as I pressed record, and I didn't want to run downstairs to look for them. So I apologize. There you go. There's your Joe excuse of the week. I apologize. We're doing things a little different. We're doing the season 2 predictions video first before our season 1 review for reasons I might not say, because I want to surprise or just want to experiment, see how what happens if we flip the switch a little bit. So we just wrapped the first season of Heels every week, each episode reviewed, so you can go check them out on ActionX. Because I will be spoiling everything about Heels right here, right now. Everything from the first season and what I hope to see should the show come back for season 2. Because as of right now, we have not yet been given the word from Stars that they will be returning for another season. I think it should. I said this before at the end of season 1 with the finale review. It is one of the best seasons of televisions I've ever seen recently. It's one of the best first seasons I've ever seen in a long ass time. So I would really want them to follow that up with the best season 2 follow-up of all time, but we'll see how that goes. Because we're just going to predict, shoot the shot, see where things go. So let's start the question. The first 2 questions. Do I think Heels will return for season 2? I think I would. I think there's enough commitment from the fans around there to warrant another season. Stars is a bit of a different avenue than normal shows. They definitely view in a lot of factors. So I do believe Heels has a pretty good chance of returning for another season. Second thing is, when do I see Heels returning for season 2? I'm gonna be honest, I don't think we get this till early 2023. I think I've heard interviews that they have ideas for season 2. I don't think they're allowed to work on season 2 stuff till they get the order, because I don't know how writers' rooms work, because sometimes writers tend to think ahead and they have the idea for 2, maybe even a 3, but most of the time it's just whatever they're commissioned for and that's it. They'll figure out the rest next time when they're legally able to. So I'm not sure how much they're able to work on a season 2, so I don't think they're able to really break in there and really figure out where do you keep going with these characters until they get the renewal. But if it was my best bet, I would say early 2023 is your best bet. With these types of shows, they do not have to perform year by year, so 2023 seems like the best spot. So I am very certain we will not see Heels again next year. I don't think so. I think they'll take, if we do, we'll see them work on it next year, but I wouldn't see them premiere anything till 2023. That's my opinion, so to speak. So anyway. Now then, again, we're spoiling everything about season 2, about season 1, and then what I think I want to see in season 2. So with that being said, let's go. Here we go. Spoilers start now. So please turn away if you have not yet seen the entirety of Heel season 1, which I believe is only available on the Stars app, which is I believe you have to pay for it if you don't have a subscription service with Stars on your TV provider. Don't quote me on that. I just watched it week by week, so I'm like, I'm good. I know there's a Stars extension on Hulu, so you can go get it there. I believe that's an additional $10 a month, I believe. Don't quote me on that too. But I think I was going to have to pay $30 for the whole season if I ended up doing it. So anyway, now that that's done, let's get down to it. So the theme of season 1 for me definitely felt like, for me, how do I say this correctly? Because people always say that, oh, the theme is one word. But no, the theme for season 1 was family and the complex nature of it, where you have your chosen family, you have your biological family, you have the family that you're given, and what do you do with that family, and how does that impact everything? Because everything about Heels, I think, eventually turned around family with the DWL being a family business, Jack dealing with the nature of his family of not giving them much attention, giving his wrestling family their share due, while also thinking about the larger play of making sure that they even have a venue to keep performing in. Ace with his complex nature with his brother, and everyone else with dealing with their chosen family being with this league and each one of them and their own different opinions of how they feel truly about the league, about everyone else around it, and what is best for them and themselves. Because another theme is identity of what do all these people want to be, what are they currently, and where do they want to eventually grow into. I feel like everyone has their own, like, this is what they are right now, this is where they want to get to, but this is how the reality is of what's going for them next. I saw that multiple times with he, especially with Jack and Ace, as they figure out within themselves like what is the right path to do to make not just themselves happy, but to make the most amount of people happy, but as well as trying to make the most important people in their lives happy as well. Because there was just a lot for them to deal with. But for season 2, I feel like for season 2, you're good. Like season 2 with always these stories, like they tend to go a little bit more dark. I want them to push themselves to the place of, you know, I don't want to say it's new beginnings, because there's going to be a lot of new beginnings next season. There really is. But I think season 2, I think a theme should be about is independence, where every character is gonna try and be isolated, whether it's on purpose or not, and then figuring out where do they go next in their story, what do they do next, to kind of now collaborate that for each of the characters. Jack's in this new place in the DWL, where for the first time Crystal is the champ. She is currently the champ. It was not planned for her to be the champ, but she is. And now you presumably have this new giant fan base coming fresh from the fair into, okay, so how do you continue that? How do you pick the story of that? Do we get a time jump? Do we get to see the immediate week, the immediate ramifications? I think before I get to Jack, timeline wise, I would like there to be a month gap, at least a month, where you get to see the characters kind of like ride the success off the fair. They're coming back with a new season of the league, and I want to see them figure that out. Like, how do they sustain the momentum, as well as putting a bigger target on their back? Because if the Dystopia was a threat for them before, the bigger they get, the more other leagues are going to realize they're a competition, and it might be potential for their hands to get dirty. So how do you keep that all going? Because that's going to be the challenge they're going to be facing next season. But for Jack, like, Jack for once realized he wasn't in control of the situation, and I believe they're probably going to get their biggest fan turnover ever when they come back. So I feel like the theme of, like, also Jack having that epiphany at the season finale that what he's doing is not healthy for his family. He's pushing his wife aside. He's pushing his kid aside. And hopefully it's not too late to repair them, but given Stacy's move, and we'll get more to her later on when I get to her, he's going to have to prove a lot, but that means stepping down a little bit more from the DWL. That it's finally getting to a higher place, but at the same time, he can't forget about his family, because by the time he potentially has the DWL where it's going to be at the point where, okay, I can finally take a step back, focus on my family, it might be too late. Like, it could be too late for him to, like, go back on it. So I think season 2 will be for Jack more about letting go of control and, like, starting to, like, focus more on family, but as well as, you know, trying to, like, battle with, like, how do you let go of control and how do you let other people, like, kind of work alongside you. I think that would be something interesting to explore for him. As for Ace is in a very interesting place, because Ace is, I described this moment like from Drake and Josh in the last season. There was an episode where it was called Josh is done with Drake, and that's literally like Josh is just done with Drake. He's not doing any more of his antics, his bullshit, and he decides to, like, you're my brother, but other than that, that's it. We have no real connection. Like, I'm gonna lead my own life. I think maybe not. I'm thinking about. I think for Ace is in an interesting point, because I wanted to figure out, like, if Ace is really determined to, like, split out from Jack. I don't think you give up his wrestling career, but I do see them having that, like, those awkward moments where, like, Jack needs to talk to Ace, but Ace doesn't want to hear it. Like, unless it's about the league, it's not. I don't want to talk to you, and I feel like that's going to be an uphill battle to recover. And there might be a chance they might not be able to recover. Maybe that's it for them, and they're just, you know, willing to work until the point where it's like even working's not enough anymore, and they just have to move on. And I want to see that for Ace, but as well as Ace has a lot of mental baggage to deal with. We saw pieces of it in season 1 of him of his dad and like him not being around, of all the support his dad gave him, and now that he was gone, like Ace kind of spiraled a little bit before he eventually kind of like regained focus a little bit, if you know what I mean. I would really like it if when season 2 picks up we have him do therapy. And it would be interesting for him to go to therapy since he hasn't done it. He hasn't really talked to anyone that's not his family, his friend, or someone he's fucking. Like, literally, those are the only 3 types of people he associates himself with. Having someone that's not any of those categories is going to help him realize his shit. It's going to realize that he has these mental issues, and he's never going to get better unless he deals with them. And whether or not one of those recovery stages is just, you got to make amends with your brother, or something along that nature. I feel like Ace has to focus on himself first before he can figure out how to leave Duffy. Because despite everything that Jack's done to him, Jack was right that if Ace was to have left Duffy at the end of episode 1, you would have gotten an Ace that was like really drugged up, really fucked up, and probably would have killed himself early on. That is something that Jack was trying to avoid, but not in the correct way that was healthy and responsible. He just messed with him around and kind of like sabotage his chances, which is not the thing to do. So for me, I think Ace has to go through that self-discovery stage again of, fixing himself and then figuring out what is next for him as a person. As for Crystal, I think Crystal is more going to be along the lines of like, she's going to like be the third character. Like, I would not be surprised if they start doing season 2 promotional stuff for like posts and stuff, and you see Crystal on there. Like, she's going to be the official third like lead. Cause like season 1 was about the brothers, about, Jack and Ace and their like entire freaking history and their entire, relationship. Crystal needs to be there to kind of break up that format, because I feel like they're going to be more independent with each other next season. Because Crystal's going to be that new stage of like, she is now the new icon for independent female wrestlers. Like, she's going to open the doors up to new challenges, whether that is the social media response to her being the champ, or new rivals are going to come up and try to challenge her for the belt. It's going to really open up the DWL to new avenues. And for Crystal, she's going to have to deal with like this new world. I really entirely like, let's immediately push her for a relationship with Bobby. I know they set that up a lot in season 1, that they do get along great, but sometimes like, even the best connections are just meant to be friendships. So I really would like to see that. We know Bobby does have feelings for her. So definitely there is something along the ball lines of, hey, let's get her to like actually, hook up with Bobby. And I wouldn't be surprised if we would have gotten a moment in next season if they were to hook up, but they're still questioning their feelings for like each other and like, where does that take them? That's where I think, but for Crystal, I really hope they don't really push her. Cause like the first half of the season, like mostly it was just her and Ace, screwing around, and then, her being that independent, woman for him. And then also trying to get in line, like, what does she want to do? And now that she's the champ, that opens up a lot of new doors for her, not just in the DWO and in her existing connection, but also broadening her worldview and like what is next for her. Where do things go for her next? Stacy, Jack's wife, by the way, I think she's in a very interesting place where she's going to probably be the direction of like new venues. I want to say I want to say Stacy is going to get scouted by someone from the fair, from the rodeo, and is going to offer her like new avenues in life that will begin to question where does she stay in Duffy or does she leave? And I feel like you still have to have those conversations with Jack about like, is this right for each other? Are we at the right stage of our lives to still be together and explore our passions and dreams? I get it more to Young Rock that this last season with their show. And also it was based on real life, so that too. Where The Rock's mom, when he was like a kid, she had a chance to go on Star Search, and potentially there was a decent chance that she could have made it big and like had a big name and like really been herself, but she stayed behind because she wanted to give her son the avenue to be with his mom and to grow up and have a stable life growing up. And I would like for Stacey to have that avenue where she is probably getting more advances to become a musician, like an actual singer, and maybe get more attention. But the fact is that that's going to take more time away from her son, take time away from trying to fix things with Jack, to the point where it's like, maybe it's better for me to like go off and like see what I can do on my own, regardless of the connections that she has in Duffy. it would be like a long game of like having her like leave at the end of season 2 and then you just to go off on her own, maybe file for divorce with Jack and just keep the joint custody. And I think the harshest move for me, and this is like really far out there, it might not happen, but we'll see where it goes. A far out prediction would be Stacy deals with that for season 2. She tries to balance both being a regular mom, trying to be a real partner with Jack, and then I'm also trying to be a musician. And I want to see the end of season 2 kind of like her decide like, okay, I want to just be a musician. That's what I want to do. And I'm going to make it work no matter what. And then you have that separation from Jack. And then maybe you explore her with someone else. Someone more stable than Jack. But that's all like very far out stuff. That's what I'm guessing that Stacy could be doing next. Then the big old Wild Bill. I literally do not want to see any more of his asshole or cock for the rest of the year. For the rest of my life, I don't want to see any more. If I see one more time that is not a repeat viewing, I'm going to literally slap myself so many times until I forget the image. Wild Bill definitely had a little bit of growth at the end of season 1. You could argue that this is the time for him to leave. Like maybe he fixed himself enough to like go back independent and go back on the nurse circuit. I couldn't see the argument of him just joining the DWL because the montage at the end of episode 8 definitely does picture Jack and Ace are willing to work with him. Of course, they were forced to work with him at first, but I feel like you could make the argument that Bill can be tolerable in the group if he was to restrict himself a little bit. I don't want to say don't turn Wild Bill into like a normal ass person. I wouldn't say do that. Still keep his flair and attitude there. But I do want him to experience more lessons, figure out how to really be a real human being and not be a piece of shit half the time. But at the end of the day, if that wasn't a place for like, okay, he's redeemed himself, he's ready to go back out there, be his own person, I could agree with that and just leave it there just so that we don't drag out any more issues, with him and just have him like tell his story and then him bow out when it's time for him to bow out. I think the only last character I could really mention to have any sort of like character development in season 2 is Rooster. I feel like you could still play with the dystopia factor. Like dystopia was a villain for season 1, and I could see them continuing for season 2. Rooster's still like a wild card. Like he's definitely left the DWL forever. He's not coming back. But how do you take that over? Like, do you have him become the new like leader? Do you have him become that new higher up figure that Jack has to face at some point to for popularity's sake, not for like a life or death situation? I could see that happening. I feel like they set up a lot in Rooster's case for season 1 that like he's still gonna have a big role to play in season 2. I don't entirely know. Do you really flip him back over, or do you really just have him keep staying with Dystopia, regardless of how things are going to turn out for them at the long run? I also would like to see new leagues, like have more like Dystopia was the only one we actually really got to pay attention to during season 1. And that was great, but I would like to have them face new venues and new competitions and new enemies to face in their mission to be as successful as they can be. I feel like that is something I want them to have to go through as like their next big challenge as a family, as a team. That you got on the spectrum a little bit, but like you're really about to come up with some other leagues that are like triple that or quadruple that, and that's what I want to see. That's what I want their conflict to be for next season. Anyone else I want to think of? I remember there was a comment from Willie saying that she might just bow out of the DWO after they were done with the fair. Like the way they were saying that, I could imagine Willie just leaving, just to have a normal life away from everyone. I could see that happening, but she's likable enough that I'm pretty sure they will keep her around for another season. But again, the writers know better than me by this point, so that's what I'm gonna go for. I will say the one moment I personally want to see, I don't know how you write this in or how you fit this in a season 2. It just depends on what the case might be for it. But I would honestly, this would be a funny thing, is you have an Arrow reference. Like something like, like just something. I don't know what it would be, but just a little like nod in cheek to that. Yeah, that's what I want to see. That's it. It's only like a very niche thing that a small percentage of the fan base would want, but it would be fun. It would be fun to see that. And also put more cameos in there, put more guest stars in there from the wrestling world. Like what that is, it doesn't have to be WWE, it doesn't have to be AEW, or it doesn't have to be any on the local league, just whatever. Whoever can support that story, whoever can succeed in helping out, I think would be the best opportunity to join along, and I think that would be the best venue for them to take it. I don't know anything about wrestling, so like I know The Rock, but like they're never gonna get The Rock on there. I know Undertaker. I know. Yeah, that's all I know. That's really all I know. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not a wrestling guy. Like I respect wrestling. I'm pretty sure if I get into it, like if I actually sit down and watch it and learn everything, I could probably get into it. But I just have literally no time to explore that. I really don't. But also, I would love season 2 to like be Christmas theme. I don't know why. I feel like Christmas themed stuff are being popular now, and even though I said 2023, you know, it could still be a fun like backdrop to like get the holiday spirit, get like the feeling of remorse and like depression seeking into them, because like they have a lot of shit. They have a lot of baggage to go through from season 1 to season 2. There's a lot of baggage. I want to see them address that. I really do. Otherwise, I think that's it. I really think, yeah. Like I said, do I personally see them making a season 2? I said this before in the season 1 finale review. I would be all for it, but if they ended up like saying like, now that was a one and done tale, we're not given the opportunity to continue more. This is a really great self-contained story that it's open-ended enough to like have you predict like, do they get back together as brothers? Does Jack and Stacy eventually fix things up? Does the DWL succeed any further? Like, those would just seem like open-ended question that we don't really need to see in season 2. But if they were to do one, they could do it justice, and they could do it like the right way and continue telling that story the correct way. But if it ends up being a one and done, I don't mind. Those were probably some of the best episodes I saw on TV in a long ass while. A really great continuous streak from episode to episode. So yeah. For me, yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Let me know in the comments below what do you want to see in the second season of Heels. Let me know below. And yeah, so I believe that's gonna do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, giving my predictions for the second season of Heels, which may or may not come out in 2023, but depends on renewal. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's the Two besides these seasonal predictions, we're currently doing DC Stargirl season 2 episode reviews each and every Wednesday mornings after brand new episode, on Tuesday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. This coming Thursday, we have a special Turner Hooch season 1 review coming up live on Thursday morning, non-spoiler related. We have our Doom Patrol season 3 episode reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode, on Thursday nights, on Thursdays on HBO Max. We also have Nancy Drew season 3 episode reviews each and every Saturday mornings after a brand new episode, on Friday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. And we're also doing The Rookie season 4 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode, on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. If you don't care about Heels, next week, regardless of what happens, we will be doing our season 1 review. Non-spoilers, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully the other thing gets to happen, but I'm not really going to push it. I'm not really going to rush it, but I'll speak more about that later. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing and talking about everything about Heels. Again, please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos if you want to see more of us. Please also ring that bell for notification when our next Heels video is up, which the last one will be next week. And also, like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get us out to other members of the Healers who have yet to discover us. Helps us beat out that YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, as well as sharing us for free here on the interwebs. And please follow us on social media, stay up to date. But until then, for all you Healers, I'll see you all next week for the season 1 review to wrap up our run. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.